Hello again. Appointing a man so deficient in knowledge as his shadow foreign secretary was a shrewd move on the part of Keir Starmer, leader of the Labour Party. It is unlikely that a dullard like Lammy will ever pose a threat to Starmer, in that he will himself hope to be leader. He is not the sort to engage in intrigues and plots, and will be content with being given an important post in the cabinet. Because he represents Tottenham and is a successor of the legendary Bernie Grant, this must surely be worth a few votes for Starmer from the Caribbean community. Lammy is a safe pair of hands, a man who will not start thinking for himself. Indeed, there are those who are of the opinion that David Lammy is incapable of thinking for himself, that whatever processes take place within his skull, it would probably not be correct to describe them as thought. We all have our own favourite instances of the monumental ignorance of this fellow. For some, it was his appearance on Celebrity Mastermind in 2009, when he suggested that Marie Antoinette had won the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1903, and that King Henry VII came to the throne on the death of Henry VIII. For me, I think the best moment of all was his paucity of knowledge about human anatomy. I think most people, certainly all women, will know that the lower part of the uterus is called the cervix, and that it performs various useful functions. It allows semen in during sex, for example, to enable pregnancy, and it allows menstrual blood and babies to come out in the other direction. It's a complex part of the female anatomy. When asked in 2021 about the idea that only women could have a cervix, Lammy said that biological men could acquire a cervix. His exact words were, "I understand that a cervix is something you can have after various procedures, hormone treatment, all the rest of it." This statement takes ignorance and stupidity to dizzying new heights, and I would be fascinated to hear more about how a man can be given a uterus, of which the cervix is of course a part. Last month, Lammy said that "I will take responsibility for being the first foreign secretary descended from the slave trade incredibly seriously." This is interesting, and viewers may like a little context here. In his constituency, many people assume that Lammy's family origins lie in the Caribbean, but in fact his parents are from South America. Specifically, they are from Guyana, formerly a Dutch colony. Britain did not acquire the territory until after the British abolition of the slave trade, and so whatever the situation with Lammy's ancestors, it had nothing at all to do with any British involvement in the slave trade. He would have to complain to the Netherlands, I think, and seek reparations from them if he were dissatisfied with the situation. But then it's only Britain and America, isn't it, which are called upon to make reparations. Not only did the Dutch have colonies in that part of the world, so did Denmark. Any viewers ever heard of the Danish West Indies? We sometimes have a surprisingly narrow view of the history of that part of the world, with Britain being the only villain in the Caribbean which anybody can readily identify. Anyway, prepare for David Lammy to assume office as Foreign Secretary next month. The good Lord preserve us all. In the description to this video I give links to the matters about which I've been speaking.